My son heard a thud on the floor and came out into the room. And he came out into the room and saw me lying there, apparently in a pool of blood, trying to wake me up.
I was really scared. What I told the 911 operator was, can you come fast? My dad fell.
I wake up to myself on the floor in a big old pool of blood.
I tried to flip him on his side so he wouldn't drown in the blood.
I blacked out. Hi, my name is Jeremy Estrada. I'm 49 years old, a resident here of Klamath Falls. This is my son, Boston Estrada. He is 12 years old. He's a good kid. Over the course of my story, I've lived mostly in Utah. That's where my addiction started. I was a commercial project manager by trade. I went to school for drafting design. I have a degree in drafting and design. I'm very successful in that area. I worked for a company out there in Utah for just about 14 years. Just spent a lot of time, enjoyed what I was doing out there. Ended up moving to Idaho to actually help them grow a branch. And also, that's kind of where two things kind of fell in my life. Again, I was pretty stressed with work. I had a lot on my plate, wore a lot of different hats. So it was easy to be able to sit back by myself, no one to answer to. I wouldn't drive anywhere. I was a by myself drinker, and I would isolate. So that just grew and grew and grew to where it started, engulfing me, where I would drink on the weekends. And I would drink excessively on the weekends. Loneliness, there was absolutely loneliness at times. I felt like I didn't talk about it. I didn't want to communicate and tell anybody because in the beginning, I just had a few drinks, just a few drinks here and there. As time grew, there was always that lingering question of, am I becoming an alcoholic? No, I'm not an alcoholic. There's no way I'm an alcoholic. No, I just drank a little too much that day. Or I just drank a little too much tonight. I'll be fine tomorrow. And I would drink in the evenings and then wake up the next day and go to work. I was functioning just fine. So no, I was making really good money, had a good life. I just wasn't motivated. I just lost motivation. I would lose that drive as a person. Internally, it was gone. It was just hard, and I didn't know what to do but just to keep on doing what I was doing. One of the bottoms that I hit was we had moved to Idaho. I started drinking one evening. It was hard alcohol, of course. That was my drink of choice. I was just drinking it straight, falling with some Gatorade, and just sitting on a couch watching TV. And my son was in the room, playing his Xbox. I decided to go to bed that night, and I couldn't sleep, so I woke up at around 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning-ish, and I could feel myself needing some more. So I woke up and started drinking some more early in the morning. Sat on the couch and kept on drinking, just kept on drinking and kept on drinking. The last thing I remember was getting off the couch, and that was it. I wake up to myself on the floor in a big old pool of blood. Apparently what had happened is I had blacked out. And the other thing that happened is my son heard a thud on the floor and came out into the room and saw me lying there apparently in a pool of blood.
So I tried to wake him up by slapping him. He wasn't responding to that. I tried shaking him, that didn't work either, so I tried to flip him on his side so he wouldn't drown in the blood. But eventually I did wake him up a little bit, but he was barely awake. And I called 911 and they got there in like 5 minutes.
I just remember waking up to being in a bed and having IVs out of my arms, thinking, what the heck is going on? And I had no idea what was going on. And, until my cousin told me what was going on. The one thing that my cousin had mentioned to me about the situation was they came in after the ambulance took me and they cleaned up the blood. And they said that they hadn't seen so much blood. They thought I had cracked my head open. They thought they'd expect to see some huge open gash. The hospital themselves, they just kept me there until they felt that they could release me. But I didn't know anything about my blood alcohol levels until I talked to the investigator. The investigator that came to talk to me had told me that I should have died because he said that my blood alcohol level's at a 0.57. You shouldn't be sitting here right now, you should be dead. Normally people are in body bags at around a 0.4. My family came out for support to help me out, and from there decided to, that I needed a wake-up call. I needed some help. This wasn't gonna work anymore like this. So I decided to come out to Klamath Falls, which my mom is out here, and get some support from them to help me out with my son, help me out with just where my life was going. Even coming back here to Klamath Falls with my family, I still had issues with relapsing. I would still drink here and there. And at that time my son knew it. He knew what was going on, and he'd have to call family or my friends to check me because I was still drinking. But I knew that I had to do something different for my life. It had to be something different, completely, again, outside of what I would normally do. I had family pushing the same thing. Yeah, my mom pushed, my brother, and in that support came up a program that was called Teen Challenge. And I had heard that this group was faith-based. And I thought, you know what? I need God in my life. I need to do something that I would normally not do, and do this for myself, do this for my son. And I'm thinking, okay, this is a year-long program. How am I going to stop my life, and take this and do this for a year? And I'm thinking, the first thing I'm thinking is, well, what about my son? There's no way I'm going to stay away and keep him away from me for a year. Well, come to find out, this program offered families in this program where I could bring my son with me. And the people who brought that to my attention and helped me get started with all the paperwork and the process of getting into Teen Challenging, I'm very grateful for. But to get that going and to make that decision, and I prayed about this over and over again as far as what should I do? Should I do this? Should I do this, God? And the answer kept on being, yes, you need to do this. You need to do this. So I decided that to make that jump, to go over that hill where you don't know what's on the other side, and just do it. And in knowing at that point then too that I could take my son with me, that changed everything. We went, it was in San Jose, and we started our program, and it changed our lives. Absolutely changed our lives. What Teen Challenge allowed me to do was to learn more about the Bible, about God's Word, and what He has for us. Okay, and how I can be as a person, better as a person. I think part of the problem in my life is I've always felt like I've had to do it alone. While in Teen Challenge, and again, while having faith in God and having a lot of time to pray and to think about things, and in that time to be able to surrender my life. It was hard to grasp at first. It took some time for that surrender, for me to understand what that surrender meant. But once I did grasp it, once I did understand it, once I did feel it, I started understanding. And it wasn't so bad anymore. I knew there was a purpose. There was a greater purpose behind what I was doing. And having my son there's a greater purpose. It just wasn't about me anymore. About my frustrations. I don't want to be here. I don't deserve this. It was about, there's a greater reason why you're here. God has outlined this path for you for a reason. It's not just for you, it's for your son too. And hear other people's stories as well. Go to church. We were in choir together, giving my testimony with my son there at choirs and I guess different events that they would have. It was a blessing. That brings a different inner peace in me. Post-Teen Challenge has been a good thing. The peace that I have inside of me now that I've never had before, even when I was highly successful in my career, in my life, I didn't have that same kind of peace that I do now. And there's no doubt in my mind that that's because of God. There's no doubt. And it's because of how I walk now and how I think now. My motivation is coming back again. My confidence is coming back again. Being a father, a better father it's there. That we can surrender ourselves to a higher power. We can surrender ourselves to God, and He's going to be able to allow us to allow things to be better for us. And how also too that I don't have to do it alone. That allowed me to release all those frustrations, allowed me to deal with it so much easier, so much easier. Just letting God just, guide me.